Brighter Shores is an indie MMORPG that launched in November of 2024. There was some pretty big hype because it had a big name behind it that worked on the original RuneScape. Now I put 100 hours into this in the last couple of months. I'm going to tell you everything that I learned and kind of the good and the bad of the game. Currently it's sitting at a mixed recent reviews, but it's got an overall positive with over 8,600 reviews. And this is on Steam, so you can go and try it out for free. I'm not subscribed anymore, but it is only $6 a month, and that'll give you access to all of the episodes in the game, which will allow you to try out different professions and skills, as well as having the ability to teleport to different locations. So the good of this game, I did enjoy the variety of different crafts and skills. You don't have to do all of them, and they give you an option to grind out skills that you may not be interested in with their knowledge system. Now to get a level or a point in the knowledge system, you just have to actively play the game. You can see here I unlocked a knowledge point. Now you can use these to unlock the ability to AFK any of the skills. They just have a level requirement, or you can do what I do and convert it to experience and put that into skills that I don't want to grind. So I hate carpentry. It has like 5 different steps. It's super tedious. So I put all my knowledge points in my entire playthrough into it so that I hit the level that I needed to complete a quest that required carpentry. I like this system because it gives you the ability to level up skills that you don't want to actively grind. So you can compound this with AFK grinding and level up the skills that you least like. All of the skills are pretty self-explanatory. If I say something like potion crafting or brewing, for example, I'm sure you know you're going to have to go and level up your gathering to get different herbs. Most of the stuff in this game is one click, you do it. The more complex crafts, you'll just have 3 or 4 clicks to do it. And outside of just grinding in this game, you do have a variety of quests that will unlock different features of the game that will make it a little bit easier or more fun even. I won't give any spoilers, but they're basically like RuneScape style, where you will have to read the dialogue and figure out what you need to do. Or of course you can just search up a guide. I had a guide for like every quest one day into the game. I stayed up till 2 AM when it launched and I got the name Indie. It was pretty packed. Right now we have 1,400 players concurrently playing online, but there's not a whole lot of interacting in this game. All you could basically do is friends list people. You'll see them in these different rooms, but you cannot trade and you cannot party up. So the game is really single player. I put 100 hours into this and it was basically a single player experience. It is nice to see others though, but this game really needs a lot more updates to make it feel more like an MMO. Although people don't really like this setup of the map where you're in these different rooms, the nodes do scale up as you level, so you'll see super high levels and super low levels collecting and gathering these different nodes or fighting the different mobs, and you can revert back to lower level ones if you need to, say for their drops, to level up different crafts. I am locked out of the later episodes, but I did play through all of it and I tried all the different crafts and the different skills and did a bunch of different quests. Let's check out all of the professions very briefly. You'll most likely be starting out with cooking. Realistically, you'll head into the building and check out all the different recipes that you can craft. You'll end up going outside to where I am right now and grabbing your ingredients, running back inside, prepping them on the prepping tables, and then ending off on a table that combines all the ingredients. This applies to pretty much all of the different crafting professions. And before you go out and try out the other crafting professions, you're going to most likely look up storage rifts. These will make crafting a lot easier. These are found on a variety of different maps, and they'll save you time so that you don't have to run back to town every time you want to put something into storage. You can put any ingredient or gathered material into these. So for example, I am chopping trees right now. Instead of running back to the carpentry station, I'll be able to stuff all the logs into that riftstone, and then whenever I want, I can head over to the carpentry station, hit up the storage in the corner there, and process all the ingredients. The carpentry is pretty straightforward. The only other free crafting profession is alchemy, and you'll be using ingredients gathered in episode 1 and 2 to make different potions. There are a lot of different potions to craft, but I think the main ones you're going to want to use will be healing potions for combat and experience potions. And they don't give much, but it's like a 3% boost. If you're crafting a ton, you're going to want to pop those. But alchemy is straightforward, same as cooking, same as carpentry. You get your ingredients, you process them, and then you bring them over to the end table where you will be combining all the ingredients. Now in episode 3, you're going to be in the mines. You're going to be gathering ingredients to be making weapons for your particular class. Not that interesting and super grindy. In episode 4, you get the more interesting professions. Probably the fan favorite is detective. Play as a detective for the city. There are a few different active mechanics. You have crime den raids, which are instanced in buildings where you fight a bunch of different criminals. You gain money and experience from that. And then you have spotting thieves, which is where you go to different merchants, and you watch for certain animations where NPCs walk up to the seller and they pocket merchandise. All you do is click on them and then you get experience and money. It's not too bad, it's kind of fun, but it gets old after a while. And then you have investigations where you run across the map and get a bunch of clues. You have a lineup at the end and you pick who did the crime. And that also gets tedious because you're constantly running around the map, but it's different than the other professions since it has a variety of options. But that's all of the non-combat professions. Let's briefly talk a little bit about the combat. The combat is kind of based around your class. There are 3 classes in the game and they kind of dictate how you look and what kind of weaponry you use. So I'm the Cryo Knight, so I have frozen weapons and I have that element. There are a few different elements of the game where the mobs have weaknesses as well as more defense to it. For now, the only differential with the episodes is that your gear doesn't transfer over. So once you progress out of episode 1, for example, if you come here to episode 2 where I'm fighting bears, you're going to need to grind out the combat level and you're going to need to find gear, which kind of isn't as big of an issue down the line when you unlock weapon crafting, and hopefully in the future they're going to have armor crafting. But they did announce that they're going to merge combat professions so that you don't have to keep re-grinding it out, which is nice. The developer does seem to be keeping an eye out on the news and feedback from what people say. We've seen them make it easier to traverse the map, and they added being able to hide your armor. But after 100 hours, I ended up quitting just because I don't find the grind itself all that enjoyable. As someone who's playing like Marvel Rivals right now or old school MapleStory for the last few months, where the grind itself is actually fun and you play for the gameplay rather than just leveling up. And perhaps if they flesh out combat a bit more, maybe we get, some kind of group content where we can party up or fight bosses or something where we can interact with other players and have some kind of break from the very monotonous grind of clicking one node at a time just to gather stuff. I think the game will feel a bit better. But this is early access. It's only been out for like 4 months in testing. It's pretty polished for the most part when it comes to bugs, but I think their main issue is lack of MMORPG mechanics as well as some pretty dull combat. Besides just click and I attack, and there's not a whole lot you can do in the actual combat itself. You can maybe stockpile some healing potions or some buff potions, but there isn't much action in the combat itself besides watching your characters beat up on each other. But I think I'll stop here. The game does have some potential. People are still playing it. I'm sure a lot of people still really are enjoying it, even though I personally may have gotten bored of it. If you want something really casual and easy to get into and not super actively play, where you can semi-AFK this or get up and do this and that, this may be the game for you. I'll probably check it out in another full year or maybe 6 months. I really do like the node system where all the different rooms are in use 100% of the time. Keeps the game feeling alive. I never really felt alone besides when I wanted to actually interact with friends. Let me know what you think if you ended up testing this, if you ended up skipping it. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe if you're into indie MMORPGs. That's all we cover on here. Not sure how I feel about this format of video, let me know as well. I usually actively test the games that I put on here and then just clip all the good parts and all the different mechanics and the monetization with a summary at the end. But if you like this concise format, let me know. But until next time, I'll see you in game.